Not everyone who asks for your help deserves it. And if you don't learn this lesson, you'll pay the price in time, energy, and even your peace of mind. Not everyone deserves your help. That's the reality most people never want to hear. We grow up being told to be kind, to lend a hand, to show up for others no matter what. But here's the truth. If you try to help everyone, you'll burn yourself out. You'll hand over your time, your energy, and your peace of mind to people who have no intention of changing or even appreciating what you've given. Think about it. There are people in your life who only reach out when they need something. They don't call to check in. They don't ask how you're doing. They don't celebrate your wins. But the moment they're in trouble, your phone lights up. These are takers. They see your generosity not as kindness, but as a resource, something they can tap into anytime without giving anything back. And the worst part, they'll keep taking until you finally say no. Then there are the victims. You know exactly who I'm talking about. They're stuck in the same cycle, the same problems, the same excuses over and over again. No matter how many times you sit with them, offer advice, or give them a way forward, they never do the work. And when you try to hold them accountable, they make you feel guilty for even suggesting they take responsibility. Helping people like that doesn't lift them up. It just drags you down. You end up pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. And let's not forget the manipulators. They're smooth, calculated, and they know exactly how to make you feel like you owe them something. Maybe they remind you of that one time they did you a favor. Maybe they tell you how no one else understands them the way you do. Whatever the tactic, the result is the same. You feel obligated to help even when every part of you knows it's not right. The truth is, these people don't need help. They need boundaries. Here's the lesson: your time and energy are your most valuable resources. Once they're gone, you don't get them back. So why spend them on people who won't do the work, who won't grow, who won't appreciate the effort you put in? It's not cruel to say no. It's not selfish to protect your peace. It's wisdom. Helping someone only matters if they're willing to meet you halfway. When you offer your time to someone who's ready to change, who values what you're giving, you create impact. You make a difference. But when you keep helping people who refuse to take responsibility for their own lives, you're not helping them, you're enabling them. You're teaching them that someone will always clean up their mess, no matter how many times they make it. That's why the next time someone asks for your help, pause. Look at their pattern. Have they shown you that they're willing to put in the work? Are they ready to make a change? Or are they looking for someone to carry the weight they refuse to lift? If it's the second one, step back. Protect your energy. Protect your peace. This isn't about turning cold or selfish. It's about understanding that you can't save everyone. And you're not supposed to. The people who are ready for your help will value it, and they'll grow because of it. The people who aren't, they'll find someone else to lean on until they're ready to take control of their own lives. So stop trying to rescue people who don't want to be rescued. Stop setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Your kindness is powerful, but it should be directed toward people who are willing to value it, not those who take it for granted. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step back, let them face their reality, and save your energy for the people who truly deserve it. Beware of takers who only show up when they need something, because these people will drain you without a second thought. They're the ones who know your generous nature, who recognize your willingness to show up for others, and they use it like a tool to serve themselves. They don't check on you when you're quiet. They don't celebrate your wins. They don't share your struggles. But the second they need advice, money, time, or support, suddenly they're at your door or blowing up your phone like you're their best friend. At first, might not notice the pattern. You convince yourself that helping is the right thing to do. You think maybe they're just going through a tough time, or they'll be there for me when I need them. But then time passes and you start to realize the truth. The only time they ever appear is when it benefits them. The connection isn't mutual, it's transactional. They've learned that you're reliable, that you're always available, and they take advantage of that without a second thought. The danger with takers is subtle because they make you feel needed. They have a way of making their problems sound urgent, like you're the only person who can fix things for them. And because you're kind, because you care, step up again and again. But here's what happens when you keep doing that. You start to feel drained, resentful, and empty. And even then, they don't stop asking. You have to understand that people like this don't respect boundaries unless you enforce them. Every time you answer the late night text, every time you cancel your plans to help them out, you teach them that your time isn't really yours. You show them that they can step into your space whenever they want, and you'll let it slide. Over time, you're not just helping them, you're enabling them to keep using you. It's not that helping is wrong. There's nothing wrong with being kind or generous, but kindness without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. And if you want to protect your peace, you have to learn the difference between someone who truly needs your support and someone who just sees you as an easy option. A person who values you won't just show up when they need something. They'll check in when you're quiet. They'll ask how you're doing. They'll offer support even when you haven't asked for it. That's what a genuine connection looks like. Mutual effort, mutual care, mutual respect. Takers, on the other hand, don't see you. They only see what you can do for them, and they'll keep coming back for more as long as you allow it. The next time someone asks for your time or energy, pause and think. When was the last time they showed up for you? Have they ever been there when you needed someone, or do they disappear the moment you don't have something to give? Those questions will tell you everything you need to know. Saying no doesn't make you cold, selfish, or uncaring. It makes you aware. It sets a standard that your time is valuable, that your energy isn't up for grabs, and that you won't let someone else dictate your boundaries. The people who truly care about you will respect that no. The ones who only see you as a resource will get angry, maybe even try to guilt you. And that's how you'll know you made the right choice. Protect your time. Protect your peace. Because at the end of the day, the people who deserve your help won't just take, they'll give. They'll meet you halfway. They'll appreciate what you offer. And they'll make sure you never feel used in the process. Avoid victims who never take responsibility for their lives, because no amount of effort, advice, or kindness can save someone who refuses to help themselves. These people live in a constant state of blame. Every setback is someone else's fault, every failure is the result of bad luck, and every mistake is something that just happened to them. They never look inward, never take accountability, and never take action to change their situation. And if you're not careful, they will pull you into their cycle of excuses and inaction. At first, you'll want to help. You'll listen to their stories, offer solutions, even go out of your way to make things easier for them. Maybe you'll lend them money, make calls on their behalf, or spend hours giving advice. And for a moment, you'll feel like you're making a difference. But the pattern will repeat. Soon, they'll be back facing the exact same problems, telling the same stories, and asking for more help. That's when you realize the truth. They don't want change. They want sympathy. Victims are addicted to the comfort of being blameless. Easier to say, life is unfair, than it is to say, I need to do better. They avoid the hard work of growth by convincing themselves and everyone around them that the world is against them. And when you step in to rescue them, you're not helping. You're reinforcing their belief that they don't have to take action because someone else will always clean up the mess. The danger of staying close to people like this is that they drain you slowly. You start to carry their problems, thinking if you just try harder, they'll finally take responsibility. But they won't. They're comfortable where they are, and your constant help only keeps them there. Worse, they'll make you feel guilty if you try to step back, as if your refusal to fix their life means you've abandoned them. The hard truth is this: you can't want change more than they do. No matter how much you care, no matter how much time you invest. Nothing will shift until they decide to look in the mirror and own their role in their situation. And until they do, every ounce of effort you give them is wasted energy. Walking away from people who refuse to take responsibility doesn't make you heartless. It makes you wise, because your time, your energy, your emotional bandwidth, those are limited resources. Every moment you spend trying to fix someone who won't take action is a moment you could spend investing in someone who will. There are people out there who are ready to grow, who just need a little support, a little guidance, a little belief in themselves. Those are the people worthy of your help. The next time you find yourself pulled into someone else's chaos, stop and take a step back. Look for the pattern. Have they been in this same situation before? Have they made the same mistakes again and again without ever trying to change? Do they only come to you when they need saving but disappear when it's time to take responsibility? If the answer is yes, it's time to let them face their own reality. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is nothing at all. Not to punish them, but to give them the chance to figure it out on their own. Growth doesn't happen when life is easy. It happens when people are forced to confront their choices and do the hard work of change. Protect your energy. Save your compassion for the people who value it. And remember this, real help empowers people to stand on their own. Anything less isn't help, it's enabling. Watch for manipulators who use guilt to control your generosity, because these people are masters at twisting your kindness into a weapon against you. They know exactly what to say, exactly how to act, and exactly how to make you feel like you owe them something, even when you don't. They thrive on control, and their favorite tool is guilt. Manipulators aren't always easy to spot at first. They often come across as charming, thoughtful, and even vulnerable. They might share their struggles or exaggerate their hardships just enough to tug at your heart. And because you're a good person, the same volume. Because you don't like seeing people suffer, you step in, you help, you listen, you give. But what starts as a small favor quickly becomes a pattern, a cycle where they keep taking and you keep feeling obligated to give. The trick they use is subtle. They'll remind you of the times you let them down, even when you had no obligation to step up. They'll say things like, "I thought you were different," or "I guess I can't count on you." Knowing it will sting, they'll paint themselves as the victim and you as the person abandoning them just to keep you in their control. The danger here isn't just the time or energy they drain from you. It's the way they make you question yourself. You start to wonder if you're being selfish for saying no, if you're a bad friend or partner for wanting to set boundaries. That confusion is exactly what they want, because the moment you start doubting yourself, they win. They get to keep you in their orbit, using your generosity as their safety net, while giving nothing back in return. Here's the truth you need to hear. Kindness is not a contract. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to your time, your energy, or your resources just because you care. Real relationships, healthy relationships, are built on mutual respect, not manipulation. If someone only values you for what you can do for them, that's not a connection, that's control. The way to protect yourself from manipulators is simple, but not always easy. Start by recognizing the patterns. Does this person only show up when they need something? Do they make you feel guilty when you try to say no? Do you leave interactions with them feeling drained, anxious, or like you've done something wrong? Those feelings are red flags. Your intuition telling you that something isn't right. Once you see the pattern, you have to set boundaries and stick to them. That might mean saying no without offering an explanation. It might mean taking space or even cutting ties completely. And yes, they will push back. They'll accuse you of being cold, selfish, or uncaring because they're losing the control they once had. But their reaction doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're finally standing up for yourself. Remember this, people who truly value you won't need to manipulate you to stay in their lives. They won't rely on guilt or shame to get what they want. They'll respect your boundaries because they respect you. The ones who get angry when you start protecting your peace were never in it for you. They were in it for what you could give them. Your generosity is a gift, not a currency. When you share it with people who appreciate it, it creates deeper connections and genuine trust. But when you let manipulators control it, end up empty, exhausted, and questioning your worth. You don't owe anyone your constant yes. You owe yourself the right to say no when you need to, and to keep your energy for the people who truly see and respect your value. Help means nothing without effort from the other person, because no matter how much you give, how much you guide, or how much you sacrifice, nothing changes if they're not willing to meet you halfway. Too often, people confuse generosity with responsibility. They think that by stepping in, by fixing things, by carrying someone else's weight, they're saving them. But the truth is, real help only works when the other person is willing to do the work themselves. Think about it. You can hand someone a detailed plan, give them all the tools, and even clear a path for them. But if they won't take a single step forward, nothing happens. It's like pouring water on dry soil that's been covered with plastic. It doesn't sink in, it just runs off. The effort you're putting in never takes root because the other person isn't open to growth or change. People often fall into this trap because they care. They see someone struggling and their instinct is to help, to solve, to rescue. And at first, it feels rewarding. You think you're making progress, that you're lifting someone up. But after a while, you start to notice the pattern. No matter how much advice you give, no matter how much time or energy you invest, the situation stays the same. Why? Because they're waiting for you to do all the work. Helping someone who refuses to take action doesn't just waste your energy. It enables their inaction. It sends the message that they don't have to take responsibility because someone else always will. And the more you step in, the less incentive they have to change. It becomes a cycle where you do all the giving, all the problem solving, and they do all the taking without ever moving forward. This doesn't mean you stop caring or that you close yourself off to people who need support. It means you learn to help wisely. Real help isn't about doing everything for someone. It's about empowering them to do it for themselves. It's about offering a hand, not carrying their entire weight. There's a big difference between support and rescue. And understanding that difference is the key to protecting your energy. Look for effort. Look for willingness. When someone is serious about changing their situation, you can see it. They listen, they try, they stumble, they try again. They may not get it right the first time, but they're in motion. They're showing that your help matters because they're using it. That's the kind of person who deserves your time, your guidance, your support, because they value it and they're willing to do their part. But when someone shows you that they're not willing to change, that they want you to do all the heavy lifting, that's your cue to step back. Not because you don't care, but because you've learned that you can't want change more than they do. You can't drag someone up a hill they refuse to climb. And the harder you try, the more you exhaust yourself without making any real difference. Saying no in these situations doesn't make you heartless. It makes you wise. It protects your energy for the people who are ready to grow, the people who will take your support and turn it into progress. Those are the people worth helping. The ones who meet you with effort, with accountability, with a genuine desire to move forward. So the next time you're tempted to step in and fix everything for someone, pause. Ask yourself if they're willing to take action. Ask yourself if they've shown any sign of effort. If the answer is no, it's time to let them figure it out on their own. Because help without effort isn't help at all. It's just a temporary fix for a permanent problem, and it leaves you drained while they stay exactly where they are. Boundaries are not cruelty, they're self-respect. Too many people confuse saying no with being selfish, but the truth is boundaries are what keep you sane, safe, and at peace. They're not walls meant to push people away. They're fences that protect your energy and define how others are allowed to treat you. Without boundaries, you become an open door, and everyone, the well-meaning and the toxic, walks through as they please, leaving you exhausted, resentful, and empty. When you set a boundary, you're not punishing anyone. You're simply saying, this is what I need to stay healthy. This is what I will and will not accept. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. And yet, the moment you start enforcing boundaries, you'll notice that some people won't like it. They'll call you distant. They'll accuse you of being selfish. They'll make you feel like you're doing something wrong. But here's what you need to understand. The only people who get angry when you create boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. Think about the relationships in your life. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you stretched yourself too thin because you didn't want to disappoint someone? And how many times did that kindness leave you feeling taken advantage of? That's what happens when you live without boundaries. You teach people that your time, your energy, and your well-being are up for grabs. The power of boundaries is that they shift the balance. They teach people how to treat you. They send a clear message you. Your generosity is a choice, not an obligation. Your attention is a gift, not a guarantee. When you communicate your limits and stand by them, stop overextending yourself for people who don't value your effort, and you make room for healthy, balanced relationships. Boundaries also teach you about yourself. They force you to confront what you truly need, what drains you, and what brings you peace. They push you to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being, even when it feels uncomfortable at first. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. If you're used to people pleasing, the first few times you say no will feel harsh. You'll second guess yourself. But over time, you'll see that protecting your peace is not something to apologize for. It's something to be proud of. The truth is, people who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries. They may not understand them immediately, but they will honor them because they value you, not just what you can give. The ones who push back, who try to make you feel guilty, who accuse you of being selfish, those are the ones who saw your lack of boundaries as an opportunity to take advantage. And when you recognize that, you realize setting limits isn't mean, it's necessary. Boundaries are also a form of teaching. They show others what healthy relationships look like. They create an environment where respect, trust, and balance can grow. You can still be kind, generous, and loving with boundaries in place. In fact, those qualities become even more genuine because they're no longer fueled by obligation or resentment. At the end of the day, you have to remember this can't pour from an empty cup. You can't show up fully for others if you're constantly drained from saying yes to everything and everyone. Boundaries are how you refill that cup. They're how you protect your time, your mental health, and your sense of self. So stop apologizing for protecting your space. Stop feeling guilty for saying no when you need to. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They're about letting the right people in while keeping your peace intact. That's not cruelty. That's self-respect. And it's one of the most powerful forms of self-love you can ever practice. Invest in people who grow and appreciate your help because your time, your energy, and your kindness are too valuable to be wasted on those who take without giving or refuse to change. There's a simple truth in life. The people you choose to pour into will either multiply your efforts or drain you dry. The ones worth your investment are the ones who see your help not as a handout, but as a chance to rise higher. The ones who meet your effort with gratitude, action, and growth. When you help someone who truly values your support, you feel it. They don't just take what you offer and walk away. They listen, they learn, and they put in the work to better themselves. They show appreciation not just through words, but through action, by making changes, by improving their situation, by becoming a stronger, more capable version of themselves. Helping someone like that is fulfilling because you can see the difference your time and energy are making. On the other hand, helping people who don't want to grow is like planting seeds in barren soil. No matter how much water you pour in, nothing will bloom. They stay stuck, repeating the same patterns, never taking responsibility, and never valuing what you give. Over time, that kind of dynamic leaves you exhausted, questioning your worth and feeling unappreciated. That's why it's so important to pay attention to where your energy goes. People who grow are easy to spot. They listen more than they complain. They take feedback even when it's hard to hear. They show gratitude for your time and your effort because they know you don't have to give it. They're not looking for someone to do the work for them. They're looking for guidance, support, and encouragement while they put in the effort themselves. Those are the people who will take what you give and use it to build something better. Gratitude is another key sign of someone worth investing in. When someone appreciates your help, they don't take it for granted. They don't act entitled or expect you to show up every time without question. Instead, they recognize the value of your support and treat it as the gift it is. That kind of gratitude creates a cycle of respect where your giving feels natural and balanced rather than forced or one-sided. Investing in the right people doesn't just benefit them, it benefits you. When you surround yourself with people who are growing, you grow too. Their drive inspires you. Their gratitude reminds you of your own worth. Their progress shows you that your time and energy can create real change when directed toward the right places. That kind of environment builds mutual respect and healthy relationships where everyone feels valued. But here's the truth: sometimes you have to make the hard decision to pull back from people who don't appreciate your help or refuse to grow. It's not about being cold or uncaring. It's about recognizing that you can't carry someone who doesn't want to walk. Letting go of those one-sided dynamics frees up your energy for people who are ready to do the work and who will value what you bring to their lives. Every time you choose to invest in someone who is committed to growth, you create impact that lasts. You become part of their journey, part of their story of progress, and that's something that ripples far beyond the moment. But that only happens when the effort is mutual, when they're willing to meet you halfway and show that they're just as committed to the process as you are. Your time and energy are not limitless. Be intentional with where you place them. Choose people who grow. Choose people who appreciate you. Because when you invest in the right people, you're not just helping them, you're building connections that are healthy, meaningful, and deeply rewarding. Pause before helping. Assess patterns, not promises, because words are easy, but behavior never lies. When someone comes to you asking for help, it's natural to want to step in immediately. You hear their story, you feel their pain, and you want to fix it. But if you jump in without looking at their history, you risk pouring your time, your energy, and your compassion into someone who has no intention of changing. Promises sound convincing, especially in moments of crisis. They'll tell you this time is different. They'll swear they've learned their lesson. They'll assure you that your help will finally make the difference they need. And because you care, you want to believe them. But promises don't guarantee action, and good intentions don't lead to growth unless they're backed by consistent effort. That's why the smartest thing you can do before offering your help is to take a step back and look at the pattern. Patterns tell the truth. Has this person been in this same situation before? Do they repeat the same mistakes no matter how many times they've been helped? Do they disappear once they've gotten what they wanted, only to reappear when they need more? If the answer is yes, then you already know what will happen. Your help will be temporary and the cycle will repeat. The danger of ignoring patterns is that you end up enabling behavior that keeps people stuck. You think you're helping, but in reality, you're giving them a safety net that allows them to avoid responsibility. Over time, you'll start to feel drained, frustrated, and resentful, wondering why your effort isn't making a difference. It's not because you're not doing enough, it's because they're not doing their part. Assessing patterns isn't about being cold or judgmental. It's about protecting your energy and ensuring your help actually counts. When you take the time to observe someone's behavior, you gain clarity. You see who's genuinely trying to change and who's simply looking for an easy way out. The people worth helping are the ones who show consistent effort, even if they stumble. They're the ones who take responsibility for their mistakes and actively work to grow from them. When someone shows you that they're willing to do the work, your help becomes powerful. It accelerates their progress because they're already moving forward on their own. They value your support because they've proven to themselves that they're willing to put in the effort. That's when your time and energy create real impact, and you feel the fulfillment of seeing someone truly grow. But when the pattern shows you that nothing ever changes, that every promise is just another excuse waiting to happen, that's your sign to step back. Saying no in these moments doesn't make you cruel, it makes you wise. It tells the other person that your support is valuable and it won't be wasted on empty words. Sometimes withholding help is the very thing that forces someone to finally take accountability for their own life. Remember, this actions reveal more than promises ever could. Look at what people do, not what they say. If their history is full of broken commitments, repeated mistakes, and excuses, no amount of your effort will change that until they decide to change themselves. Your kindness is a gift, but it should be directed with intention. Don't hand it out blindly to anyone who asks. Pause, observe, and evaluate. The people who are ready for your help will show you through their actions. They'll be consistent, they'll be committed, and they'll appreciate what you give because they've already proven they're willing to do the work. Protect your time. Protect your energy. Let patterns guide your decisions, not promises. Because when you choose wisely, your help doesn't just feel good in the moment, it creates real, lasting change.